What up, what up, what up? How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the pod, Strong, Well-Fed, and Outspoken. If you're new here, my name is Rusty, aka Coach Frizzle, aka the Miss Frizzle Fitness. This is my girl and co-host.
Hey guys, it's Coach Nell, Alana Nell. In case anyone's wondering, it's just a first name that people seem to struggle with. So we
Alana.
defaulted to the last name.
You find that people have an easier time calling you Nell versus
Yeah, because they just assume it's short for like Nelly or like
Yeah,
some older traditional name.
Yeah, Nelly, I remember you saying that before. I don't like that. Have you ever seen Little House on the Prairie?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, remember the girl, Nelly, she was like the bitch in the show. You're definitely not. We associate.
Okay, but Canadians, did you ever watch Deadly Do Right? That show about like the cartoon about the Mountie?
No.
He was always rescuing the damsel and she was Nell. And I just think it's funny because I'm actually married to a Mountie.
That's funny. Yeah. That is funny how that works. But yeah, it's even for me with Rusty, I think people are well, I had someone the other day be like, Krusty. I'm like, fuck would be named Krusty. Like
I saw a TikTok about someone like asking their barber their name.
Yeah.
And they thought they said Muscle. And so they just went on there like, yeah, you live your life like you pick your name, you pick your pronouns, like thanks for the great haircut, Muscle. And then when they got the like Venmo back or whatever, it said Russell. Like, so the morals of the story, it's okay to confirm. You can ask.
Yeah. Well, you know what? In today's with today's everything that's going on and the pronouns, I think people, they might think in their mind like that guy might have been like, there's no way it's Muscle, but you just never know.
Yeah, you pick your name. I'm not gonna work to or I don't want to inadvertently offend someone, right?
Yeah, actually, so funny story here. So Steph and I, my man, if you guys don't know, we like people say we kind of look the same, and he has curly hair as well, and like same color hair.
Yeah, it's the complexion. I think it throws people.
Yeah. When we were first together, people like and just hanging out, people were like, "Oh, are you guys siblings?" We're like, "No."
Lovers.
Yeah, we should have said yes and then also said lovers. But yeah, freak people out. Yeah, we live pretty close to the border for like where our home base is. And so, I'll zip over, get groceries and things like that. And one day I was going by myself, but I think we had just gone. So I had both our passports on us. And quickly at the border, I scrambled and gave my passport to the guy. And the guy's looking at me and looking at the passport. And then he looks at me and looks at the passport. And he just goes, is this you? And I could tell by the way he was hesitant. I gave him Steph's passport. And again, to each their own, but if you have undergone surgery or something, I think it's probably, right, let's just say it, and you haven't changed your passport. So the poor guy.
It's true, because even my passport photo, it is me, but it's me 50 pounds heavier with straight hair.
Yeah, it looks so different. So I said, I'm like, oh my gosh, should I give you my husband's passport? And I gave him mine, and he just started laughing. And he literally was like, he's like, I can't say anything because, I don't want to offend anyone, but I don't know how to ask the question yet. And I was like, no, I get it, man. I get it. It's all good. But
it's true, because we run into this issue of like descriptors, especially because like you and I talk about the physical body and like we train all types, all kinds.
Yep.
But yeah, it is very much like I always try to keep it very much like anatomical to muscles, but it like all of those things factor in. And so it is hard to talk about sometimes.
Yeah. So I could totally see how nowadays, like people would think any name is possible, which it is, like, again, teach their own. It's your life, baby. Do what you want. But okay, if you guys haven't picked up, today's kind of a casual.
Yes, just get to know us, answer some of your questions.
So,
some of the questions we've got are specific to topics that like we constantly get asked about, and some are just fun ones that you'll enjoy hearing the answers to.
Yeah, we love doing the Q&As. As we said before, we want to do these regularly, so I think this will technically be our third Q&A.
Yes.
And so yes, we got some great questions, some funny questions in here, so we're gonna answer both, but we're just gonna go back and forth with each other, and hopefully there'll be something you guys either laugh at if you haven't already yet, or still something good you guys will get from this. We got some stuff on like HIIT and hormones and all that good stuff. So
yeah, should we just jump in here, start at the top, work our way down?
Yeah,
so
let's do it.
How do you feel about low carb diets around like 125, 130 grams a day? Now, this is from one of our Instagram followers.
Yes. Yeah.
_X Caitlin. You
Yeah.
guys, when you have complicated Instagram names, it's hard to read them out.
Yeah. And some actually, I think quite a few of them didn't leave, or maybe I forgot to put some of the names in here.
It's all
Anyways,
good.
yeah, lower. So, okay, first of all, in my opinion, if we're talking 100, what was it, 125 to 130?
Yeah.
If we're talking like every single day, day in and day out, just like you're living your life, then like depending on the person, I mean, for a lot of people that would probably be considered more low carb. If you're, a smaller stature, that's not even going to be really low carb. But if you're also in a cut, I want to be honest with you guys, that's not actually really that low carb, to be honest
No,
with you.
on my low cal days, my carbs are 130.
Yeah, and how tall are you?
I'm almost 6 feet. I'm 5'11".
Exactly. So to give people reference there, right? Like when I was in my cut last year, my low carb days went down to 100 grams. And so like 120 to 130, like, oh man, that would like I would have been laughing that extra 30 gram of carbs. So I don't actually think that that's super low carb, again, depending on the context. But yeah, if you're just like living your life and let's say you're like 5'7", 5'8", you're only ever eating 130 grams of carbs. Yeah, you're probably not feeling too hot, in my opinion. Your thyroid is probably not in optimal levels using the
Yeah, you're
output
just
there.
generally lower energy throughout the day, right? Because carbs are your main source of energy, you guys.
Yep. And like your body, guys, your body is not built off of ketones, right? It's built off of amino acids and glucose and salt. So again, like carbs are actually going to be fueling your hormonal system. Hence why it is the body's preferred source of energy. So what's my opinion? It depends on the context.
And the a lot of factors, right? Like your stature,
Mhm.
your dietary needs, right? Like if we're training a diabetic versus someone that doesn't have that issue, those macros are going to break down differently for those individuals, right?
Yep. Oh yeah, absolutely. So as a whole, I think low carb diets are like they can be very useful for the context in which you are applying them, like in a deficit. Or again, like, if we're looking at uh, diabetes in any kind, or things that we have to be aware of there, but to live your life, then yeah, no, you, even if you're somebody who feels better eating low carbs, because I know a lot of people actually do feel like, I just feel constantly full. That's when I even think a carb cycle can be really, really beneficial, right? Having days where you're going higher carbs and days you're going lower carbs, even without being in a deficit, just make up for the calorie difference by having more fats. That will also keep you a little bit more insulin sensitive and probably help with digestion.
And just like you mentioned here, making up for it with the fats and things, look at it as a whole too, right? Not just, oh, I do low carb.
Yeah.
What are your total macros throughout the day? Because
Mhm.
if all of your macros are a little bit lower, you're eating at a lower calorie bracket. That's not necessarily low carb.
Yeah,
If
true.
your fats are sky high, your protein is sky high, and your carbs are much, much lower,
Yep.
that would be low carb, even though maybe I'm eating more carbs than the other person.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, it's all perspective based. Okay. We have a. Should we do a fun one next, or?
Yeah, we may as well do this one next because
Okay.
you and I don't have an answer for it.
I
We'll just see what
know. I
happens.
said, I'm like, right before we hopped on, I'm like, we should save this to the end because I feel like I still don't have an answer for this. But
Well, we can ask it now. People can start to mull their own answers over, and then if we come
ooh,
up with an
yeah.
answer, we can say it later.
Yeah, okay, true. Okay. So what's one restaurant you would never go to again, even if it was the last restaurant on earth? I do love this, but I'm like, it's hard too, because I know at the time there have been restaurants where I'm like, I'm never eating here again. But now
Right?
I can't think of one.
I feel like okay, so mine is McDonald's, but not for the reason you think it's McDonald's.
Okay, yeah.
It's McDonald's post 11 a.m. I will ride or die McDonald's breakfast.
Yeah.
I
Oh no,
still
I
like
agree
it,
with you. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I have not eaten a burger or chicken nuggets or fries in years because one time I think I was probably about 8 or 9.
Yeah.
We were traveling as a no, I must have been older. I would have been about 12. We were traveling as a family. We were in Drumheller. If you guys don't know Canada, Drumheller is like where the dinosaurs are, right? So like lots of dinosaur themed stuff. I had McDonald's and I was so violently ill. I had heat stroke. I didn't know this.
Oh.
But those fries look exactly the same coming back up. So that was like,
Oh.
I'm done. I have never eaten
Gross.
McDonald's lunch, dinner since then.
Gross. Yeah, no, no, not good at all. Um, there's a chain restaurant, and I can't think of the name of it in the States, and that's why I can't think of the name of it because we don't have it in Canada.
Yep,
Um,
classic.
ugh, is it White Castle? I want to say it's White
Maybe
Castle.
with the burgers where Harold and Kumar go.
Yeah, I think it is White Castle. Yo, I think that is trash.
Fair.
Like it just like I don't know, it's trash in my opinion. Like it's like soggy.
Yeah,
The
like if you're gonna eat a burger and fries, have one that's so good.
yeah, no, it was just yeah, it was just like soggy. Maybe and you know what? Here's the thing: when you go to chains, maybe it's just like the one-off place, right? Because maybe they're having like a bad day. But every time we drive by it, like the White Castle, I'm just like, this literally looks like it looks run down. It looks like it's like
They're like the Burger Baron of the States. Do you have Burger Baron in Ontario?
no, but
It's like the
I know what it is.
dumpiest, frumpiest burger places here.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Like dumpy and frumpy. Yeah, no. It's I'm like, how does this still exist? Like even just based off the like media perspective.
Yeah, and like the health code.
Yeah, it does not look good. But honestly, even I think about other restaurants where I just don't understand how they're so successful because they just seem blah. It's not that they're
Yeah.
bad to me, but they just like I will probably get some hate for some of these, but like TGI Fridays, I'm just like, there's nothing special about this place. Like the name
Yeah.
is cool.
Applebee's is another
Yeah.
one. It's just
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, how are these so popular? I don't actually. I also don't know how Burger King is still so popular. Burger King
it's
seems
bad.
so
I had Burger King 2 years ago. No, yeah, last year when I had to evacuate for the fires.
yeah
There was a Burger King on the road, and so I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. And so
yeah
I did all the things, like I'll get it without mayo, and it was still
bad.
damp.
Yeah, damn. That's a good way of putting it. Damn, it's just not good.
No.
Not
Okay,
good.
but my follow-up though is what is one chain that you always are like, yeah, I can make that work. I'm willing to eat there.
Okay. Well, I should probably answer this in two ways because one, I'm like a huge, I love steak. So like any steakhouse really,
That's fair.
I'll go to Le Keg in Canada is the best with the free
So good.
sourdough bread. Oh my gosh. But also in the US, right? Like the Texas Lone
Yes.
Star, really, really good. And the Longhorn, also really good. And they both have like their own breads as well. Love those restaurants.
Yeah, basically any restaurant that brings table bread is a win for me.
A win. It's such a win.
But you know what other one I will always eat? Swiss chalet. I love that
Yes,
sauce.
I love Swiss chalet. So our US people, you guys don't have Swiss chalet, but literally been going there since I was like my earliest memories. In fact,
Yeah, and it's roast chicken. So actually
yeah,
it's one of the more like higher protein,
friendly, yeah,
macro friendly restaurants. Yeah.
but delicious. Like we grew up in the same house always, and so my mom still lives there, and so we'll still go to the Swiss chalet that we went to when I was a kid. And there's waitresses still there, and every time they see me, they're like, "Oh, I remember when she was this big, and she'd cry and she'd cry." I'm like, "Listen, I don't cry anymore, okay?"
Not on the outside.
Yeah. But yeah, Swiss chalet. I love Swiss chalet. You know what's one that I actually used to not like really like, but now I do like? Chili's. And it's
Yeah,
not just because
fair.
they got those insane mozzarella sticks. Have you seen those?
I have not had a Chili's mozzarella stick.
Okay, sorry, I
Okay.
haven't had one yet, but actually I think I'm gonna go. I don't even care. I'm by myself. I think I'm gonna go and get one. They look so good. And every time I see somebody with like they're like loaded with cheese. But yeah, I actually think Chili's is pretty solid.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree.
But
Like really anywhere with chicken and rice or chicken and potatoes, it's hard to go wrong.
red meat. Yeah, I'm a big the last thing I'm gonna say here. I love Mexican food, and in Canada, it's really hard. I eat, like again, we're both from Canada. We don't really get good Mexican food in Canada. So when I'm in the States, I hit Mexican food hard, and I love. And I'm sorry, I'm probably gonna say this wrong, but the mocalete bowls. I'm pretty sure. Well, it's somewhere around there. You'll know, even if I'm saying it wrong. Amazing, 10 out of 10 every single time. They're just like this bowl full of, like you said. So first of all, you've got rice, but then they give you like 3 or 4 different proteins. So usually you get your red meat, you get shrimp, and then usually you can pick like maybe you'll do chicken or something like that. A lot of places serve catfish with it, and then you get
I love
avocado.
catfish.
Oh, I love catfish and like beans. They put the sauce. It's so good. Cheese. It's incredible.
just in case you guys were wondering,
We love
you
food.
can absolutely get strong and jacked and have the physique you want and still eat the food you like
Yeah.
as long as you're reasonable about it.
Yeah, 100%.
Nobody is under eating here.
Yeah, we love food, man. That's why we're strong, well-fed, and outspoken. Now that we've spent 10 minutes talking about food.
That's fair. Well, now that we're back to being strong, well-fed, and outspoken, we've actually got a question here from a coach that's just starting out.
Yeah,
So, I'm a new coach, and learning boundaries are important for my own respect and mental health. Absolutely, yes.
yeah.
Any boundaries you've set for yourselves as coaches?
Yeah.
What are your boundaries that you've put in place?
Yeah, this is such a good one. I probably spent the first few years of my career feeling drained all the time because I did not have boundaries in place. I take 2 phone-free days a week. We both do. That's, if you ever wind up working with us, working for the company, then you'll know that that's something that I'll tell all of my other head coaches and assistant coaches, because everybody gets a weekend. There's no reason why you shouldn't as well. And phone free time to unplug from your clients, I think, is really, really important. And our clients that work with us know they can literally message us any other time outside of that. And like, we're pretty fast and efficient with our responses.
Yeah,
And
even with like you honestly, I tell everybody you can message me anytime, day or night, but
yeah,
I have set things on my phone that kick me out. I don't even open my computer
yeah,
for that reason, right?
yeah, because we love what we do, and we'll both wind up being on our phones at 11 p.m. at night otherwise, and that eventually will have us hating what we do.
And then we become hypocritical because we're not
Yeah.
doing the things we need to do. We know you need to do
Mhm.
because we're sacrificing ourselves to make sure you're doing it, right? And I
Yeah.
truly believe in like leading by example.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, this one actually I really came up with in the last year. If I do a call with somebody that is looking for coaching and then they ghost me completely afterwards, there's a very good chance that even if you come back in the future, I won't take you on as a client.
Mhm.
That's a new one I really started. And for some people that might sound harsh, but for me, if you don't have enough respect to respond to me after I have taken the time to have a phone call with you, because here's the thing, um, coach, I'm not like, we're not desperately looking for clients. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, we're not saying that from like an egocentric perspective, but I always say to people, I love what I do. I do not take it for granted. But if you want to work with us, then you also need to have a level of respect for us, right? This isn't like, oh, I own you because I'm paying
No.
you. So therefore, if you literally take our time by hopping on a phone call with us, going through the whole thing, but then you don't even respond to say like, hey, now is not the right time, which believe me is totally fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's we'll have many calls with people and they'll just be like, "You know what? I can't do it, or I'm not ready, or my finances." Totally fine. You don't have to end the phone call with a yes, I'm ready to go. But if you say I'm going to get back to you and then we follow up and you literally never get back to us, very good chance that whether you reach out again in 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year from now, we won't be taking you on as a client. So that's a big one for me.
And I think as a new coach starting out, know your strengths and weaknesses, right? I am a people pleaser, and so I had to work really hard at
Mm,
putting parameters in to protect my peace. And
yes.
I work with a lot of first responders and very real emergencies come up.
Yeah.
However, your lack of planning does not constitute an emergency on my end,
Mhm.
right? So if you let me know you've got something going on, great. We will absolutely work around that. But
Yep.
if you no show, you don't have the drive yourself to do your check-ins and things like that,
Yep.
I'm not going to chase you. Don't get me wrong, I'll check in. I'll make sure you're doing okay cuz life is hard sometimes. But I'm
Yes.
not going to come knocking on your door to hold your hand every single week. That's not how we coach.
Yep.
That shouldn't be how you coach because to have success, you want to build your own autonomy. You want to create discipline
Yeah.
and you want to create those habits. And if I'm constantly doing it for you, you're not going to do it yourself. So,
Totally.
as a coach, start to implement things that are going to help you lean into your strengths, but also protect you in those moments of weakness, right?
Yeah,
If you don't
absolutely.
know how to say no, practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. That's a big one for me as well. Yeah, I don't chase I don't chase because you're right. We're not here to babysit. And the same reason why people say like they don't like meal plans because they don't teach the person about how to eat or make decisions. It's the same thing here. Like we're here for accountability, but it's up to you to use us for that, even if it's to just say, hey, I didn't do my full check-in this week, I'm struggling. That's still a form of checking in. But we can't, chase you down.
And
So,
as a new coach, sometimes it's okay to not do things in completion
yep,
in your own right. Like, let's say you're in your hustle era, you're building your business. As a new coach, this is very real.
yep,
It's okay to not be in the gym for hours at a time. Do a 20-minute workout at your desk, or, start to put those things in place so you're not sacrificing your own goals in building your business.
absolutely, absolutely, yep, yep. One other thing was a boundary I set with myself, which kind of plays off of what you just said, which was my boundary was done is better than perfect. And so that was, like you said, very, very similar, excuse me, there. Allowing myself or taking myself off the hook of like feeling like it has to be completed or perfect in order for me to get it up or get it done or whatever it might be. So I think
And your people will find you, right?
yes,
The people that are looking for you to be perfect all the time are not the people you want to be working with, right? They want real and raw as much as you can be.
absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, great question, great question. um okay, so kind of going back to food a little bit, but food from a planned nutritional perspective, is there a benefit to doing a faster reverse diet?
This is a really good one. I like this one.
Mhm.
Um, Again, I would argue that it's dependent on the person, because I coach both men and women. I find typically males can reverse diet faster. They can handle more calories kind of
Yeah,
in a lump amount, whereas women, I tend to spread it out a little bit more because our bodies seem to adjust better to a longer reverse diet.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think this one, so there is like a physiological sorry guys, there's a physiological like reason to do a faster reverse diet if you are a man or a woman. But in that case, we'd almost be calling it a recovery diet,
Mhm.
right? So like if you're coming out after competing and your calories are just like super low, so we know your hormones are tanked, you're feeling like trash, there is more of a benefit to doing what we would call like a recovery diet. We want to increase food a bit faster to help you recover, to help get you out of that really low
Yes,
state that you were in.
very true.
Also, like in the case of being, post competition, likely when we're talking about doing a slower reverse diet, it's not going to be enough now to keep you satisfied. And that almost feels harder for many people if you talk to them, competitors, the initial 4 to 6 weeks after the show than the last 4 to 6 weeks leading up to the show where their calories got super low, because you have, an endpoint. You are motivated by something. When it ends, all of a sudden the show is done now. And you're hungry. You're just still hungry. Bumping your food up by 100 calories, 150 calories doesn't feel like enough and can almost feel more challenging. So, again, we kind of do a bigger initial first bump to try and take the edge off, to help bring your hormones up, to have you feeling better. And then we can maybe slow things down from there a little bit. But honestly, I will also say that like most studies show that when you're doing a recovery diet, right, we know like the scale is going to go up a little bit in some way. The question is like where your mindset is, what you're comfortable with. If
And
you're,
what's your reason for your reverse diet, right?
yeah, yeah, oh,
Because
definitely.
like if I like I've coached women and then they've gotten pregnant while in a deficit. We reverse that diet pretty damn quick because you need those calories. You're building a human, right? So we don't
Yes.
mess around with like, oh, a little bit here, a little bit there. It's like, here you go, eat some more.
Yeah, literally right off
Right?
the hop.
So it really depends on why you're reverse dieting.
Yeah, no, very, very, very true point. If this is just from like again, you've just done a cut or something like that, then yes, we know the scale is going to go up. But it's a matter of, are you okay with seeing it go up, let's say 5 pounds within the first 6 weeks, and then coasting after that, or will that freak you out? And in which case, we're maybe going to do a slower reverse diet, to the 5 pounds will still come on at the end of your reverse diet, but it's happening in like six
Like an
months.
incremental, yeah,
Yeah,
slow
rather
raise. That's
than
fair.
yeah, it kind of depends on the person and what they're willing to handle, and again where their like mindsets at there. But
Yeah, because the first time I ever reverse diet, it was very nerve wracking. Now I'm like, yeah, let's see that scale jump. Let's go.
yeah, totally, totally. Um, so let's actually, I think. Oh, well, you know what? You just did a great post on bracing. So let me ask you this one again
Yeah,
because you can start with this one.
sure.
I've been working on my core more and focusing on bracing correctly, but now my back and lats are sore. Am I doing something wrong?
So, couple of questions. Are you for sure bracing correctly? It's hard to know for sure if you're learning it on your own. You're maybe not having someone look at it or you're not used to feeling it. But also, are your back muscles not working prior to this? Because
Yeah.
maybe those muscles are just now being activated and you're actually feeling fatigue from bracing correctly.
Yep.
Um, because you're feeling it in, like you said, your lats and your low back, that makes sense because that should be working.
Mhm.
But I don't know that it would be, are you doing something wrong or not? It's hard to say.
It is
Um,
when we can't,
is it
yo.
does it feel like muscle pain or does it feel like you've stressed something or you've strained
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, yeah, it's really hard when we can't see videos. Yeah, my back and lats are sore. Yeah, I would say like the same thing. Like, are they sore from like a muscle exhaustion perspective? Because that's not necessarily a bad thing. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're doing something wrong, right? When we're talking about core bracing, it's your entire core, which, as Nell said, includes your lats and your lower back. It's not just in
Mhm.
front of your abs, right? In fact, a great superset I've been programming for some of my clients lately is that, especially, and this is great if you struggle with swinging when doing lat pull downs, is to actually do something like a cable abdominal crunch first, because now we are engaging your core, but we're engaging your abs from a contraction perspective. Now, when you go to lean back a little bit to do the lat pull down, we're actually going to stretch your abs out a tiny bit. But because we have now just worked on core stability through, flexing and extending your spine, you're going to notice more core engagement when you do a lat pull down, and you're likely not going to swing as much. But again, when you do that, you will feel kind of sore with, again, even here, like, your lower back, your core a bit. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, and with your bracing improving, are you actually moving more weight and
Yeah.
that's why you're feeling it? Because that
Yes.
could be very real too.
Yeah.
Once you learn how to brace, it can take your lifting game to a whole new level because you're so stable and you're so strong that you can move a lot more weight.
Yep.
But that also takes a lot of control in other body parts, right? And so maybe, like, say you're doing a squat, but now you're feeling it in your back because you're moving more weight than you ever have before. That
Yep.
could be a very real option too.
Yep. Totally. Totally.
But honestly, I'd recommend taking a video of it, looking at it, and see, can you see you're pushing into your back with your breath? Can you feel that you're expanding all the way around? I had a vocal teacher. She used to say, breathe into your crotch. And
Uh,
if you think about it, like trying to breathe into your crotch, you're expanding your entire torso out, up, and down, which is what your brace is.
yeah. Yeah. Totally. Totally. That's an interesting one. Breathe. Yeah. Into your crotch. Yeah. Wow.
Or
I'm
my
gonna
little brother's
put
super
that.
helpful. I'll tell you if your abs are flexed, headbutts you.
Yeah.
He was very little.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Next one
Yeah,
here.
so oh, this one is wild. Are you ready for this one, you guys?
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah.
If each finger on your hand could dispense a different drink, what are they?
This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing.
I
I love
can't with this
this.
one.
Okay, so 5 fingers, right? I should have thought about this earlier too. Like, for sure, I already have some right off the hop.
Yeah.
Um, so
Do I have 5? I don't know.
yeah, I know. That's what I mean, right? I would definitely make sure, like, I would for sure have water as one. I know that
Absolutely.
that's
Non-negotiable.
non-negotiable, because, like, if I'm in a place like Africa where I can't get fresh
Yeah.
water, like, hello,
I live for water.
yeah,
Traveling is so hard. I am so thankful that I live in a country with clean water.
yeah, honestly, blessed up. Yeah, water for sure. Okay. Um, for me, okay, this is what I would say. I would do water, miso soup. I love miso soup.
Just soup fingers.
Yeah, I love miso soup.
Wait, is soup an option? Because all my fingers will be soup.
Yeah, no, because miso soup doesn't really have anything in it, like bits of,
No, it's literally just like umami.
yeah. So miso soup, so good for your gut health, so delicious. Water, miso soup. I would probably do. No, see, I gotta think. Diet Orange Crush. I love Orange.
Why does that fit you so well?
Yeah,
Like, of course that's you.
yeah, Orange Crush. I love Orange Crush. Um, let me see.
All right, well, you're thinking about it.
Yeah,
My
yeah, you
second
go
one
for
is
it.
absolutely coffee, hands down,
I
without
knew
a
yours
doubt.
was gonna be coffee.
But
Of
my
course it's
third one
coffee.
is milk because then I can put the two together.
Oh, okay,
Like,
okay.
I'm not just guzzling a
Logical
glass of milk,
idea.
but I am absolutely adding it to my coffee every single day. So if I have them both on tap, we'll just pew, pew, we're good to go.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay, that
Could
works.
you imagine me out here just drinking glasses of milk? I've met one person in my entire life that was like, I really just need to have a glass of milk. I'm like, follow
That
your
used
bliss.
that used to be me as a kid. I would go to everyone's house and the parents would be like, "What do you want to drink?" And I'd be like, "Can I have a glass of milk?" I drank so much milk when I was a kid, so much milk.
I mean, to be fair, we were told that was a good thing.
True, true. Okay, so yes, I would do water, miso soup, diet
Diet
orange
Orange Crush.
crush. You know what? Sangria. I'm not a huge drinker, but I love sangria, and like most people tend to like sangria, and so like, how cool would it?
Like it's a crowd pleaser, right? You're kind of like
For
Jesus at the
you.
party. Woo.
Yeah, yeah, sangria. And then, man, I don't know. I'm kind of boring. You know what? I would probably choose my favorite EAA flavor, which currently is. I mean, I know that would technically be like powder with water, but whatever. I'm saying it. Okay. I would probably do. My current favorite has actually been the fruit punch from Arms Race. I've been loving it. Uh, yeah, I would probably do that. Then I'm like always good to
And you're
go.
good to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
electrolytes 24/7.
You still have one finger left though, don't you?
No, I don't think so. Water,
Water,
miso
miso,
soup,
orange crush.
orange crush,
Oh, you got sangria,
sangria,
right? Never mind.
and
So
yeah.
I have two fingers left. What else would I put? I would absolutely have apple juice. I love apple juice. It is my intra workout. I will like I'm like a little kid with my little juice box mid work.
Yeah, literally though. That's
So
so
that
cool.
one for sure. And then this is gonna sound gross. So I don't drink at all,
Yeah.
but I will still drink like a virgin Caesar. So
Yep.
I will absolutely have Clamato on tap, on that hand
Okay,
tap.
okay.
Boom.
Yeah, good
I
to
like to tell myself it's full of vegetables.
that's
That's it's follow me for health advice.
that's amazing. Well, to be honest, in my mind, I was debating between, yeah, like the sangria or a virgin pina colada because I love
Right?
pina coladas. They're so good. But yeah, I'm not really a huge drinker. So, anyways, great question.
You guys share in the comment what your finger drinks are.
Okay, wait. I'm actually, you know what? If I was gonna swap any of them out, I would change it, kind of going off the milk theme, but cereal milk. It already has to be
But
flavored.
like soaked cereal milk.
Exactly. It already has to
Yeah,
be flavored from the cereal it was in. I love that. That's like the best part of the cereal sometimes, I swear.
that's
But
fair. That's fair. I
yep.
would maybe like just do like a chicken broth.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah,
or
yeah.
a green tea maybe if I had to swap out.
One of them. Yep. Yeah. If we had like a six finger. um,
All right. Well, now that that's gone completely off the rails, let's get
mhm.
back into it. So now that you know what we would drink on our hand tap, right back into fitness.
Yeah.
Best deadlift variation for low back pain.
Mm. Right off the hop, usually barbell, we're gonna swap that out for like dumbbells. Usually
Mhm.
that right away tends to be a difference for people, even if we're keeping the deadlift the same, whether it's like an RDL, right? Deadlift, straight leg, the dumbbells allow for a little bit more freedom at the hips. Even just holding the weights at the side of the body can make a really big difference. Also swapping, so not so much variation, but like the actual equipment you're using, swapping to a cable can be really beneficial here, or going into a single leg. So you're not really going to be able to do like a single leg traditional style deadlift, but a single leg Romanian deadlift, let's say.
Or like even a B stance so that you're
Yep.
still a little bit supported, but it's really one side dominant.
Yeah, I would say that those swaps or variations can be really, really beneficial. In terms of actual movement, I would probably say I actually find that, like, for a lot of people, the traditional deadlift, as long as we're mastering the hips and knees and how they move, works really well, right? Because again, you have the assistance of your knees also bending here. Whereas with an RDL and a straight leg deadlift, it is purely hip hinge. So it is completely happening at the hips where a lot of people tend to struggle. And so therefore their lower back takes it over completely and we see a lot of pain. So those would be my answers.
Yeah, I would also maybe add to that like a trap bar option because it distributes the
Yes.
weight behind you as well. So when you're hinging, yes, the weight is pulling you forward, but it's still behind you as well.
Yeah.
I do this with a lot of like pregnant women because they're already extra weight on the front. Um,
Yeah.
the other thing too is is your low back really weak,
Yeah.
right? A lot of the times we're like, oh, I have back pain when I deadlift. I have back pain when I deadlift. But we don't realize is you need a strong back,
Yeah.
and we're not putting the effort in to get there.
Mhm.
So are you doing things like good mornings or even like glute hyperextensions and things that are going to work in that lower part of the body, the back and the glutes?
Yep.
Because it might just be that you're really, really weak and you're trying to push a lot of weight because you think deadlift works my legs.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love the trap bar as well. That's really, really good. But yeah, absolutely. A lot of the time, pain that we're feeling is usually either a sign of weakness or a sign of something else that needs to be addressed. Like there's a root
Yes.
problem somewhere
Yeah,
else.
or it's a technique issue in your setup because you've never experienced it before, and you just have to figure out the setup that works best for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I
Absolutely.
have a little bit of a curve to my spine, so sometimes if I'm not careful when I'm doing like a traditional deadlift, I start to feel it in my low back quicker than other people. And so then it's like, oh, right, rein my technique back in. Stop with the ego, maybe lighten up the weight. It's not that I can't do it, it's that I just need to be specific in how I set it up.
Totally. Totally. Okay. A really common one that we get here. Honestly, it doesn't even matter like all throughout the year because obviously sickness happens all throughout the year. But training when sick, how should I do it? Should I do it? Should I be taking rest days? What difference happens to training when you're sick?
So I would first ask, what kind of sick,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is a big thing. Is it like head cold, stuffy, runny nose, cough? Is it stomach sick? Is it fever,
Yep.
right? Those, the rule of thumb different is different based on that, right?
Yep.
So if it's like kind of stuffy, runny nose, scale it back. You're
Mm-hmm.
probably okay to keep going, right? If you have a fever, you have aches and pains, just stop. You need to rest. You need to recover.
Yeah.
And please don't spread that around the
Yeah,
gym.
honestly, from the
Right.
consideration perspective, that's huge as well, you guys. It really, really is. Um, yeah, I completely agree with Nell here. Kind of above the neck versus below the neck. If it is stuffy, sneezing, maybe your eyes are running a bit of a headache. Headaches can be pretty extreme, mind you.
Yeah, like if for migraine, I would say pause,
No,
right? Because
yeah,
you're struggling to just have your eyes open. Don't go to the gym. You don't need that negativity in your life.
yeah, honestly, honestly. But yeah, anything below the neck or anything that's like coming out of the body outside of like
Yes.
sneezing, you definitely rest.
Yeah. Think anything Pepto Bismol related?
Yeah, yeah,
Rest.
that's a good way to put it. Um, Having a good relationship with your body means listening to your body. Sickness is your body's way of communicating with you. It can't tell you, I don't feel good. It's literally showing you, I don't feel good. So give yourself a break and stay home and rest. Your recovery will be better for it. Your body will thank you for it. And there's
Yes.
nothing negative that's going to happen or come from having a few days to rest when you need to. So,
And I know you will say the exact same thing here. As you start to recover, instead of worrying about your workout, use that time to make sure you're set up for being successful for more than a day at a time,
yep.
right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. We just had this conversation in our group chat, but
Yep.
yeah, I would rather you take the day to rest, maybe get your steps in, make sure your meal prep is done. How can you use the time to advantage to still push you forward? Because remember, it's not just always about going to the gym.
And if you are going to the gym, go into it with a mindset of feeling it out,
Yeah,
right? Don't go in maybe expecting your personal best, but go in and seeing what feels good and how hard you can push because the answer might be different day to day.
absolutely. Yep. Yep. Very, very true. Um, we're gonna skip the next one. Let's go to the last one.
Sure.
So, this is a question we get a lot as well. What is your opinion on HIIT for perimenopausal women? Or, again, we get this question a lot. So, just what is your opinion on HIIT? Does it really raise cortisol levels?
Yeah, I'm going to be a little bit of a hypocrite here because I think a lot of the time we're thinking we're doing HIIT when we're not.
Yeah, totally.
Right. So we're looking at like trying to burn calories after the workout. We're looking to get a really, really good sweat. And we're not actually looking at our heart rate, which to me is very much what HIIT is about. It's raising that heart rate and then recovering in these short periods of time.
Yep.
So are you actually doing HIIT? If you're not, you're just doing like a group fitness class, you're probably okay. I wouldn't say that you're like raising your cortisol levels enough to be concerning, especially if you're a perimenopausal or a menopausal woman, right? At this point, being active is more important than the, 45 minutes or an hour once or twice a week that you're increasing your heart rate.
Yeah. So for me, so HIIT, okay, first of all, like Nell said, most people aren't actually doing true HIIT, and you're not doing true HIIT because HIIT is in its truest form exhausting.
Yes.
So there's no way that you are going to a class and doing 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes of HIIT.
Yes.
You're not doing HIIT at that point. You're doing a mediocre, somewhat challenging version of cardio.
Yes, because HIIT is 80 to 95% of your maximum heart rate.
Yeah.
Most of us are not even getting close to going into those zones.
Yeah. The other thing that HIIT actually requires is resistance still. Okay. So you hopping around with your body weight is not doing HIIT. I don't care how high your heart rate is getting. You need a resistance of some kind, even while you are doing HIIT training. So again, if you're going to a class that is HIIT and it's all body weight, it's not HIIT. So, and like, don't get me wrong, like, push-ups can be a form of resistance, but right, we're just talking about like, a lot of them tend to be just cardio-based plyometrics, and that's not true HIIT. I would actually disagree though, where I think that the HIIT classes are actually worse for your cortisol levels than true HIIT. Because here's the thing, like, we're living in this society where like, for women, they're like, oh, I really am not seeing results. I got to do more. I got to push more. I got to work harder. The problem with that is, so now they're doing these 30, 60-minute classes that are just prolonging an increase in cortisol, because your cortisol is raised with every single form of movement that you do, whether it is strength training, swimming, cardio, bike riding, HIIT, your cortisol is being raised. That's the function of the body. So now you are elevating your cortisol for 30 to 60 minutes, but you're only doing this like half-ass attempted at HIIT cardio. So you're not really getting the most from it, but what you are doing is keeping your cortisol just chronically elevated for this entire period of time. Whereas when you're doing HIIT, your cortisol is not going to be as elevated for as long, because although it's being raised for very
shorter period of time.
Intervals. Yeah. So super short periods of time. And then part of HIIT means you are totally breaking. You're not then going to like, oh, I'm just going to go a bit like lighter. No, like you're breaking, you're resting in between rounds. Doesn't mean you're like standing still, but you are resting. So your cortisol is going up and then it's coming back down. We're giving a body a chance to breathe and relax. This is also going to take stress off of your HPA axis in the brain, which is, where we tend to see chronic cortisol be a big factor here, a big problem. And again, you're doing it for a very short period of time. True HIIT is only happening for 10, maybe 15 minutes, right? And then you're done, versus 30 to 60 minutes. So the classes are usually, in my opinion, what's actually the bigger problem for people. I would rather my perimenopausal or I'd rather my female client do 10 to 15 minutes of true HIIT cardio with a resistance, 10 to 20 seconds on, fully breaking off and be done, rather than a 30 to 60 minute class.
And the other thing to look at too is like, what is your other activity level? Like, are you relying solely on like your HIIT class or HIIT to achieve a certain goal? Then this is probably not the road you want to go down, right?
Totally.
But like, I teach a class that is labeled, this, and it is very much a cardio class, but it's very much cardio. So if that's increasing your activity levels throughout the week, great. But we're not, smashing that heart rate up that high that whole time, right? And so looking at what else is going on in your day-to-day life is important too.
It's huge. But you really want to look at everything from like a grand perspective. It's usually less about the like minutia and more about the big picture here. So
yeah, which is why you're getting two kind of sides of the coin here with even our answers, because it really does depend situation to situation and the overall picture.
Yeah, totally. But there you guys go. Another Q&A episode wrapped up. So Q&A number 3. So we're going to try and do these, like we said before, about like once a month or so. So if you already have a question, drop it in the comments below on the pod, or, follow us. If you're not currently following us on social media, you can find me at coach.frizzle on literally everything.
And I am coach.alana.nell on all platforms except LinkedIn, because nobody's using LinkedIn.
Yeah, except LinkedIn. I am on LinkedIn, but
I have a LinkedIn, but yeah. I think it still says I work in health and safety.
That's awesome. So yeah, we'll post a Q&A box for the next one. But if you do potentially miss it, right, just drop the comment below. We'll come back to literally this podcast and see if there were any questions posted for next time.
Yeah, and like slide into my DMs. When I think of a question, I have to get it out of my soul or it's gone forever.
Yeah.
So don't be shy.
True. Yeah. If you message us, we'll put it on our list as well, and hopefully we'll be answering it on the next Q&A. But until next time, guys, we'll be back next week with another fresh episode, something more on topic, which is to be announced. And in the meantime, if you guys like what you hear, please share this with a friend. Leave us a 5-star review. It is super, super appreciated. And we hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful week until then.
Stay fed, guys.